Hi, welcome to the Triangle of Research, Part 1, Special COVID-19 Edition. I'm here to talk about how to do research. Now, here we have in front of us Google. Looks pretty familiar, doesn't it? It is probably every student's favorite research tool. And there are good reasons for this. There are problems too. Let's pretend that you're going to do a paper on the death penalty, which of course you will not be able to do because that's one of my forbidden topics. But I click in death penalty and I quickly get 217 million results. Million. Isn't that wonderful? What are you going to do? Spend the next 3 lifetimes looking at every single one of those results? If you're like most of my students, the answer is no, certainly not. In fact, you're probably only going to look at the first page. What do you see here? And then you're done, right? You're good. You're golden. No, you're not. Okay. And by the way, you see this thing here, Wikipedia? Do not use ever in my class for anything whatsoever. Wiki is icky. Just please remember that. Now, I talk about the triangle of research for a reason. It was invented by a librarian from Ohio State University even before the advent of the internet, if you can imagine. The principle of the triangle is that we want to go from very broad sources to more specific sources to even more specific sources. The reason is that this way we can catch as much information as we need. And as we go through every step of the way, we can narrow our focus in an intelligent manner so we know what we're really doing. So instead of beginning with Google, which quite honestly is fine for many searches, but you have to know what you're looking for first, and therefore we're going to go to Mesa College. Here we are on the Mesa College homepage. And I scroll down here, and you see at this point research. Library, databases, OneSearch, course reserves, ask a librarian. Very nice. Okay. Now, let me just talk for a quick second about this OneSearch that you see right here. I know it's a real popular search device. The librarians love it. I hate it. Why do I hate it? Because what I've noticed is many students who use OneSearch basically wind up with materials that they don't know what they are, they don't know where they came from, they don't know how good they are, etc., etc. So today I'm going to click on databases. You see where that is right there. Now, our lovely librarians have organized the databases in an A through Z fashion, nice alphabetical order, which doesn't help a lot if you don't know what you're looking for after all. So I'm going to help you. The first stop is actually going to be with the letter G. Click on G. The first stop is Gale eBooks. All right, this is why we press the letter G for Gale eBooks. And you can see what it says down here, an invaluable online collection of specialized encyclopedias and reference books for multidisciplinary research. Great starting point for locating facts, background, and overview information. And that's really the key to the triangle of research. To begin broad and then go specific. So, an overview. Now, maybe in the past you had teachers who said they did not want you to use encyclopedias and things like that. And I understand, but I disagree. The encyclopedia is an opportunity to have, within a few pages, a lot of dense information. So you can very quickly get yourself up to speed, or as I like to call it, read yourself into an expert. Now, what do we got here? We've got a bunch of different encyclopedias. I have my eye on the second one here. Death Penalty, Gale Encyclopedia of Everyday Law. This is going to give me a quick down and dirty about the history of the death penalty. So I'm going to click on this. It's only 6 pages long in the initial text, and that's not very long at all. And you can see, of course, in the electronic text, there are links all the way through, embedded links. It gives me the history, United States, history in the United States. If I need to know about the death penalty, if I'm going to write about the death penalty, I need to be able to understand laws, court cases, people who were important, and this is going to give me all that information. So if I've never heard of Gary Gilmore, for instance, it's like, whatever, I see this name, it doesn't mean anything to me. It won't mean anything until you see and understand it. Oh, and look, there's our good friend Gary Gilmore right down here, right? So many of you may not know, but there was a period of time in the United States when the death penalty was considered unconstitutional, and for a significant period of time, there were no death penalties carried out until the execution of Gary Gilmore, as you can see, by firing squad in Utah. Gilmore's an interesting case, by the way, because he did not fight his execution. All right, he actually appeared to want to be executed. Maybe he just wanted to be the first. Anyhow, you learn about the death penalty in this text. A lot of information, very, very easily accessible and quickly. Now, here's where we get some really fun stuff. One of the things that I would like to encourage you to understand is that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. In other words, many materials will give you bibliographies or revised bibliographies for reference, for further reading, whatever they call it. There's lots of different things that they could call the materials. Here it's called additional resources. But these are research opportunities for you to go to and find these texts. Now, in this case, we're looking at some books. Some of these are a little old, maybe a little too old for some of us, right? 1977, that's getting pretty long in the tooth for a death penalty book. But here we have some links that you could easily just click on and go to places. And this is the beauty of research in the 21st century. It's made significantly easier for you. Oh, by the way, did you notice that they gave you an MLA citation? That's very nice. That's very helpful. Okay. MLA 8th edition. All my students like getting a little bit of help with that. So this is the first step of the triangle, an encyclopedia. Okay, in this case, we went to Gale eBooks and we found the encyclopedia that had something about the death penalty. Now the second step will go from encyclopedias and other general reference works, which I can find through Gale, to what we might call regular books, ebooks. I'm going to go to E, and here is the EBSCO ebook collection. Second thing right here, EBSCO ebook collection. And I wait for it. And I'm going to type in death penalty. See what happens here. There are 38 ebooks. Look at that, very nice. Now with these ebooks, you have the opportunity to just read them as they are. You can download them and read them later, depending on the book, right? You have a lot of materials available to you. These all count as regular books because they are, in fact, regular books, okay? And you can scan through. I believe we had 38. Yes, 38. That is certainly not an enormous number. You don't want to use all 38, of course, but it's enough for you to be able to look at them, see what's going on. I'm going to click on this first ebook, just so we can take a look and see what happens. Okay, so here's the title, here's the author, here's the publication information type, and this description, or what is other times called an abstract, gives a quick down and dirty as to what is inside the book. So this is something that I think is very valuable. So if you read this and you realize, no, this is not covering what I want, then you don't have to spend an awful lot of time on it. On the other hand, if it does seem very promising, then you can continue on. Another thing that's very helpful is this. I entered in death penalty, but that's just something I came up with. In fact, our library uses what's called the Library of Congress subject heading system. And it turns out that in the official Library of Congress, they call it capital punishment. So this book appears as Capital Punishment, United States History. I can use this link to do a new search that just looks at this area. Capital Punishment, United States History. Let's see what happens. So I do this, I now have 6. Now you might say to yourself, but that's not so good. I had 38, now I have 6. But if this is what you really want to focus on, the history of the death penalty in the United States, now you have narrowed your search down to exactly what you're most interested in. Let's go back. We'll click on this again and go back to this. A couple other things that I want to point out to you. First of all, a table of contents. Now, that's not necessarily as helpful as an index, but it does give you a good overview of what to see and where to go, on the assumption that you're not going to read the entire book. Okay. Other things are available here on the left. I don't know if you can quite see this. There's a PDF version, an EPUB full text version, again, the full download. Over on the right-hand column is a citation guide. Let me just click on this. See what happens. Citation format. It gives you the citation format for the book. Now we use MLA, so we have to scan down past all these other formats until we find MLA. Works cited, MLA. Boom. Now, in this case, we can copy and paste it. Now, in my particular class, I prefer that you not include the URL for the search here on EBSCOhost because it's not helpful anyway, right? If I clicked on it as I was reading your paper, it wouldn't take me to the article. It would actually take me to the front door of EBSCOhost where I would be blocked. So I can just copy and paste just like this, boom, and you're good to go. Now, I do want to point out, as it says, that sometimes there are slight mistakes in personal names, capitalization, and dates. So again, as I've said before, you are responsible for your own works cited. Make sure that it's done properly. But the good news is it's probably already 90% there, okay? And especially for students who are not adept at MLA, this can be a bit of a lifesaver. Now, as we see, these are other categories. Again, other searches that you can use. See what we have when we go to the PDF full text. It may take a while. We'll see. Oh, not so bad. Not so bad. Spinning, spinning, spinning. And of course, what will happen is you just go page by page. You can jump ahead, death penalty yesterday and today. Right? Here's our good friend Gary Gilmore again. On January 17th, 1977, Gary Gilmore was executed, right? But you already knew that because you saw it in an encyclopedia. But it helps you to measure what's going on. So, these are the only books you can get, unfortunately, during our COVID crisis. But Mesa has a lot of books on ebook. So I hope that you begin your search with encyclopedias and books. Then proceed to part 2, periodicals. Thank you.